A millionaire's son lay in a coma for days. Doctors threw in the towel. Specialists jetted in from every corner of the globe. Nothing worked. Then a homeless black girl, barefoot and bold, strolled into the hospital and whispered 5 words that stopped everyone cold. "I can wake him up." The millionaire scoffed, rolling his eyes. But what happened next flipped the script entirely. This ain't just a story, it's a straight-up miracle, and you won't believe the ending. The clock on the hospital's sterile wall flashed 12:32 p.m. The room reeked of antiseptic and that plasticky hospital smell. Machines droned on, monitors blinking with a dull, predictable rhythm. The beeping was steady, too steady. On the bed, 10-year-old Caleb Thompson lay still. A small figure under a blue blanket stamped with tiny baseballs. His eyes stayed shut. His face ghostly pale, his sandy blonde hair matted against the pillow. Tubes snaked around him, tethering him to life. He hadn't moved, spoken, or blinked in 8 days. 1 minute. He'd been tossing a football in the backyard with his dad. The next, he collapsed mid-laugh, sprawled in the Georgia grass. Doctors labeled it an acute neural collapse, a rare glitch even the sharpest minds in pediatric neurology couldn't crack. "He might wake up," one doc mumbled, "or he might not." Another chimed in, almost like they were reading from the same script. Caleb's father, Marcus Thompson, sat glued to his son's side. His rough, work-worn hands that had built skyscrapers and signed million-dollar contracts, cradled Caleb's limp fingers. A real estate tycoon who'd reshaped Atlanta's skyline. Marcus had brokered deals with steel magnates and city councilmen, but nothing felt heavier than watching his boy fade. Nurses called it love. Doctors called it denial. Marcus didn't care what they called it. This was his kid, and he wasn't budging, but time gnawed at hope. 8 days in, the doctors' voices dropped to hushed tones. Words like hospital policy, insurance caps, and next steps crept into the conversation. That's when she showed up. Victoria Vicky Langston, a billionaire tech queen who owned half the medical centers in the Southeast. She was sharp, flashy, and didn't bother hiding her ego. A woman with private jets, penthouses, and a smirk that could cut glass. Vicky stormed in unannounced that Thursday afternoon, trailed by her PR crew and a pair of ex-Marine bodyguards. She'd caught Caleb's story on her X feed while sipping a $20 latte and saw a chance to play savior. She pitched Marcus a deal, top-tier neurologists, AI-driven scans, and experimental treatments all on her dime. Marcus, frayed and desperate, asked one thing: "Will it bring him back?" Vicky laughed, her diamond earrings glinting. "Big man, I've got tech that'll reboot his brain like a MacBook. Trust me." Her laugh hit like a slap. Marcus's jaw tightened, his fists clenching. He stood, gently laying Caleb's hand back on the blanket. "He's not a gadget," he said, voice low and gravelly. "He's my son." Vicky waved him off, her manicured nails flashing. Feelings don't fix comas. Science does. But Caleb didn't budge, not that day, not the next. Vicky's team rolled in machines that looked like sci-fi props, hooked up VR goggles, and ran algorithms that spat out 3D brain maps. Zilch. One by one, the specialists bailed, leaving behind 6-figure bills and silent monitors. By Sunday evening, Vicky stopped showing up, but Marcus stayed. He read Caleb's favorite comic books aloud, played old Outcast tracks from his phone, and rubbed coconut oil on his son's hands. He even talked about the Atlanta Braves' latest game, knowing Caleb would have been glued to the TV for it. Just past midnight, a nurse tapped the glass. "Mr. Thompson, there's a girl here, says she wants to help." Marcus frowned. "A girl?" The nurse nodded, pointing to the lobby. There, on a cracked vinyl bench, sat a barefoot black girl, maybe 12 years old. She wore a faded Atlanta Falcons hoodie, too big for her frame, and ripped cargo pants. Her face was smudged with street dust, but her eyes deep, clear, like they held secrets locked onto Marcus's soul. She stood as he approached, giving a small nod. "You Caleb's dad?" she asked, her voice steady with a soft southern drawl. "Yeah," Marcus said, wary. "Who are you?" She didn't answer that. Instead, she said, "I know how to help him." Marcus blinked. "Say what I know how to wake him up." Her words weren't loud or cocky, just sure, like she was stating the sky was blue. Marcus, running on 3 hours of sleep and a heart full of grief, sighed. "You're just a kid, sweetheart. Look, I appreciate you. But doctors couldn't help. A billionaire couldn't help. I don't think he ain't lost." She cut in, soft but firm. "He's listening. But he's scared to come back. He don't know if it's safe." Marcus's throat went dry. She stepped closer, her bare feet silent on the tile. "He needs something this hospital ain't got. Your pain, your truth. The stuff you keep locked up behind all that strength." Marcus froze. "Who are you?" She didn't answer. "Can I see him?" Every instinct screamed to shut this down. But something, maybe the way her eyes held his, like she'd seen this before, made him nod. "All right," he whispered. She walked into Caleb's room, placed a gentle hand on his forehead, and closed her eyes. Her lips moved. No sound. Like a prayer only she could hear. Then she turned to Marcus. "Now you. He knows you're here, but he needs to know why you're here." Marcus stared at his son, his chest tightening. Words he'd buried since Caleb's collapse clawed their way out. "I wasn't there, buddy," he whispered. "I was on a call, closing a deal, when you fell. I missed your laugh that morning. I missed the way you asked for extra syrup on your waffles. I missed the sign something was wrong." His voice broke. "I should have been there. I should have hugged you longer. I should have told you I'm prouder of you than any building I ever put up." Tears hit the blanket, soaking the tiny baseballs. "Come back. Caleb, I won't miss another minute. I swear it." The heart monitor blipped faster, just once. The nurse gasped. "Did you see that I did?" the girl said, calm as ever. "He's listening." Then she turned to leave. "Wait," Marcus called. "What's your name?" She paused at the door. "They call me Zora." Then she slipped into the hallway, barefoot and gone, like she was part of the night itself. Marcus spun back to Caleb. His fingers twitched, slight but real. The machines hummed with a new rhythm, not routine but alive. By dawn, Marcus hadn't moved, his back screaming, eyes burning, but he didn't care. Sometime in the night, Caleb's thumb had shifted, brushing Marcus's hand. No one else saw it, no one needed to. As sunlight spilled through the blinds, a new nurse raised an eyebrow when Marcus mentioned the girl. "No visitors logged last night," she said, scrolling her tablet. "No kid on the cameras either." "You sure you weren't dreaming?" Marcus just stared at Caleb's chest, rising and falling, and knew Zora was real. The moment she'd touched Caleb's head, the room had shifted, not just the air, but something deeper, like a radio tuning to a forgotten station. Marcus wondered where Zora came from, where she went. She'd spoken like she knew Caleb, not the kid who loved Spider-Man and sweet tea, but the boy who'd once asked, "Dad, does the moon ever get lonely?" Marcus hadn't answered then, too busy, too distracted. He hadn't listened, not really since Caleb's mom passed in a car wreck 3 years back. Caleb loved stories. Not Netflix binges, but old tales Marcus used to spin about John Henry or the Gullah trickster rabbit. Caleb would beg. Tell me about the girl who sang to the stars." But after the crash, Marcus buried those stories with his grief, worked 80-hour weeks, and let silence fill their home. Caleb never complained, just got quieter. Now he was silent until Zora. That afternoon, Marcus did something he hadn't in years. He prayed, not churchy, just raw. "God, if you're real, don't let this be the end." The door creaked. Zora stood there, same oversized hoodie, same bare feet, same steady gaze. "I said I'd come back," she said. Marcus nearly lunged at her. "Where you been? Who are you?" "I go where I'm called," she said. "I'm someone who remembers what folks forget." She stepped to Caleb's bed, rested a hand on his wrist, and closed her eyes. He's closer today. Marcus's pulse raced. "Closer. He heard you yesterday," Zora said. "But he needs the song." Marcus frowned. "Song." Zora's eyes met his. "The one you sang before the crash, before you stopped." Marcus staggered, like she'd punched him. There was one song, a lullaby his mama used to sing, passed down from her low-country roots. "Moonlight on the river, stars in the breeze, hold tight, little dreamer, you'll soar with ease." He hadn't sung it since the funeral, when he'd whispered it to Caleb in the dark. His throat locked up. "I can't. You can," Zora said, soft but sure. "He remembers it. So do you." The room blurred, replaced by a memory, their old porch swing. Caleb's head on his chest, fireflies blinking in the yard. Marcus blinked it away, sat by the bed, and forced the words out. "Moonlight on the river, stars in the breeze." His voice cracked, but he kept going. "Hold tight, little dreamer, you'll soar with ease." The monitor beeped steady, stronger. Caleb's fingers twitched, once, twice. The nurse yelped, "He's responding." Zora nodded. "You gave him a path back." Marcus wiped his eyes. "Why you doing this? You don't know us." Zora stepped back. "I know him. Not his name, but his heart." Marcus tensed. She sighed. "I was a kid once, stuck in a bed like this, scared, alone. Nobody came, no songs, no hands holding mine. I waited, but no one showed up to call me home. I swore if I got the chance, I'd change that for someone else." Marcus dropped to his knees. "You're an angel." Zora didn't answer, just whispered to Caleb, "You're found." She moved to the door. "Will you come back?" Marcus called. She glanced over her shoulder. "If he needs me. But your voice is louder now." Then she was gone. Marcus ran to the hall, but Zora had vanished. No trace on the cameras, no log at the desk, back in the room. Caleb's eyelids fluttered. He wasn't awake, but he wasn't gone. Marcus grinned, hope burning bright. The ICU was hushed, but room 412 felt alive, like a church after a good sermon. Marcus sang the lullaby all night, his voice raw but relentless. Every note pulled Caleb closer. The monitors agreed. Brainwaves steadied, heart rate climbed. At 6:15 a.m., Caleb's left hand reached for his dad's no reflex, no prompt, just him. Marcus sobbed, clutching the blanket. Dr. Ellis, the lead neurologist, stared at her charts, baffled. "This shouldn't happen," she muttered. "No drugs, no surgery, just recovery." The nurse beside her blinked. "What do we write this up as, doctor?" Ellis paused, then whispered, "An anomaly." Marcus chuckled. "Y'all call it what you want. I know what I saw." That afternoon, Marcus stepped outside, the Atlanta sun warm on his face. The world felt new, like the first day of spring. He hit up a corner store, not for coffee, but for a pocket notebook to jot down songs, stories, promises. Zora was right. Caleb needed his dad's voice. Not the one drowned out by boardrooms and blueprints. but the one that said, "You're enough." Back at the hospital, Marcus found a note taped to Caleb's window, scrawled in messy purple ink. "Healing comes before waking. Keep singing. She hears you." His heart skipped. Zora had been there, invisible but real. Caleb's breathing deepened that day, less mechanical, more human, his cheeks flushed with color. Then, late that night, he spoke a faint, raspy, "Dad." Marcus dropped the notebook, legs buckling. He cupped Caleb's face. "Buddy, you hear me?" Caleb's lips twitched. "You came back." "I never left," Marcus whispered, tears falling. "Where's the girl?" Caleb mumbled. Marcus froze. "You saw her?" Caleb nodded weakly. "She said she was the echo that found me when I was lost. She sang, 'Till I heard you.'" A tear slid down Caleb's cheek. "She said you were waiting on the other side of the dark. I followed her light." Marcus felt the words carve into him. "She brought you home," he whispered. Caleb smiled faintly. She smelled like rain and cornbread. Her laugh was like firecrackers. Said her name was Zora. Marcus choked up. She didn't need wings to fly, just faith. The next morning, the hospital buzzed. Caleb's chart was a medical mystery. No drugs, no trials, just a boy who woke up. Security footage showed Marcus singing, praying. But the hallway where Zora walked empty. An intern rewatched the tapes, goosebumps prickling his arms. "That girl wasn't there," he muttered. "Not on camera." Marcus and Caleb watched cartoons, holding hands. Caleb's cheeks glowed, his laugh weak but real. "Tell me the story again," he said. "Which one?" Marcus asked. "The girl who sang to the stars." Marcus blinked. He hadn't told it in years, but Zora had. Caleb hadn't forgotten, and neither would he. That night, Marcus stayed, notebook open, scribbling stories, songs, prayers. He'd never let silence win again. Just before midnight, he stepped into the hall for air. A voice, soft and familiar, hit him. "You did good, Miss Thompson." He spun. Zora stood there, barefoot, dusty, smiling wide. "She don't need me no more," she said. "She asked for you." Marcus's eyes welled. "Will I see you again?" Zora tilted her head. "Maybe. Or maybe someone else will." "What do I owe you?" he whispered. Her smile softened. "Tell him stories every night, even when he's grown. Keep singing." She turned, walked down the hall, and vanished. No door, no sound, just gone. Marcus didn't chase her. He stood, full of peace. 3 months later, Caleb was home, his light back. Marcus told the story to anyone who'd listen, not for clout, but because it was true. He told it to news anchors, hospital boards, skeptical doctors with fancy degrees. He told it to himself at 2 a.m. when doubt crept in. Most of all, he told it to Caleb every night. Caleb remembered Zora's laugh, her touch, her words, "You ain't lost, just not done yet." Doctors called it spontaneous neural recovery, blamed an idiopathic brain event, but no scan, no study, could explain what Marcus saw, what Caleb felt. Caleb started physical therapy, his steps wobbly but fierce. When he stumbled, he'd whisper, "Zora." When he wanted to quit, he'd hum her lullaby. Marcus sold his Buckhead condo, his vintage Mustang, his stake in a midtown high-rise. He didn't need them. He was building something real, time, love, truth. He used the money to start Echoes of Light, a nonprofit for Atlanta kids facing trauma, illness, or loss. It offered free music lessons, art classes, and storytelling workshops in community centers across the city. Its tagline, "Where silence fades, hope begins." Caleb painted the first mural, a girl in a too big hoodie, barefoot, holding a glowing star. Below, in bold yellow. She didn't need wings, she had faith. Reporters hounded Marcus. "Where's the girl? Is she real?" He'd say, "Her name's Zora. I don't know where she is, but I know where she was when it counted." Some smirked, called it a tall tale. Others teared up, believing belief, Marcus learned, could move mountains. One evening, Marcus and Caleb walked through 5 Points. Caleb in red sneakers despite the clear sky. "Just in case," he said. Zora said the best stuff happens when you're ready. They stopped at a street corner near the old MARTA station. An elderly woman played a saxophone, a cardboard sign at her feet. "You ain't lost, just not done yet." Caleb gasped. "Dad, look." Marcus approached, heart pounding. "Where'd you get that phrase?" The woman smiled, her braids streaked with gray. "A girl told me years ago, said she traveled light, carried only truth. Used to sing with me till she up and vanished. Was her name Zora?" Caleb asked. The woman's eyes twinkled. "That's what she said, wasn't it?" Caleb grinned. "She's still out there, Dad." Marcus felt warmth spread through him. "Yeah, she is." That night, Caleb stood by his window, staring at the Atlanta skyline. Marcus joined him. "You good, buddy?" "I was thinking," Caleb said, clutching his stuffed bulldog. "What if Zora finds another kid who's lost and scared like I was?" Marcus smoothed his hair. "Then, I hope someone's singing nearby." Caleb nodded. "We gotta teach the world to sing." Marcus smiled. "You want to do that?" "Yeah, like you taught me, but bigger. On TikTok, YouTube, in the streets, when folks feel alone." Marcus hugged him. "Then we will." They recorded Caleb's story, his drawings, his giggles, his comeback. Marcus shared songs from his notebook, raw and real. They called the channel Zora's Echo. In 2 weeks, it hit 3 million views. In 4 months, they got 15,000 messages from hospital rooms, foster homes, shelters, and late-night bus stops. Each ended the same. "I thought I was lost, but maybe I'm just not done yet." On the 1-year anniversary of Caleb's waking, he stood on a stage at Echoes of Light. Microphone in hand, knees shaky but voice clear. He sang Zora's lullaby. Marcus spotted a girl in the back, barefoot, dusty hoodie, soft smile. Their eyes met. Then she was gone. No sound, just faith. Miracles ain't always fireworks or headlines. Sometimes they're grit on your hands, stories at bedtime, a father finding his voice, a boy's hand reaching through the dark, or a homeless black girl nobody believes in, laughing at the impossible till it's real. Zora didn't wake Caleb up, she reminded the world what faith can do. Caleb's story isn't just a miracle, it's a wake-up call. Every kid like Caleb, every heart like Zora's, deserves a voice to guide them home. Join Racism and Justice today. Sing a song, tell a story, or share Zora's Echo on TikTok, YouTube, or your blog. Teach the world to sing for those who feel lost. Visit echoesofthelight.org to donate, volunteer, or drop your own story of hope. Let's keep the light burning because no one's ever truly done. Act now.